McDonald's is slashing the price of their combo meals just a few weeks after the CEO publicly admitted that the menu has gotten too expensive and he's pledging to fix it.
Am I the only one that sees how tone deaf shit like this is?
Welcome back to the channel, tune in or go stout. A new poll is showing that even though Americans are dealing with a cluster of problems from unemployment to unaffordable housing and high interest rates, the problem troubling them most is inflation. Many of you might be familiar with a part of Trump's economic plan that relied on tariffs. Our government found it to be a good idea to tariff other countries to level the trading field. I'm not giving my opinions on this video whether it was a smart idea or it wasn't. I simply want to point out the fact that our Supreme Court said that those could not go into place and they have been halted. What to many doesn't sound like a big deal, and maybe even a good thing if you're opposed to these tariffs, is actually another spit in the face of the US consumer. If these tariffs get pulled back and are not allowed to go through, our government may be required to pay over $200 billion to the corporations that had to broot these tariffs when they were put in place. I guess I can understand that because the government made these corporations prepare for tariffs and prices that were never really gonna stick. But when the hell do we get our refund? The number one thing I hate about inflation the most is the gaslighting that comes with it. Since 2020, companies have been making us foot the bill and acting like we don't notice. People have been calling out the increasing prices of almost everything, even when it doesn't make sense. The reason I went and picked out that McDonald's quote from the CEO for you at the beginning of the video is because from 2019 to 2025, McDonald's has increased its prices by over 50%. And that's when you look at the whole menu. I could go in on just singular items like a burger or some fries, and those have been taxed well over 100%. For an example, a medium fry used to cost $1.59. Today, it costs $3.79. And if you're a true McDonald's customer, which is not a good thing, but in America is a sign that you're a true American, you'll remember the Holy McChicken used to be $1. When I tell you McChickens got me through middle school and high school, I'm not lying to you. But nowadays, the McChicken sandwich that I had to get 3 of to fill me up is now $2.99. That is the highest increase of the entire menu. And if you don't know how to do percentage math, $1 McChicken being $2.99 today is a 199% price increase. So to think, after taxing people 100+% on certain items, you want to come out and say, I guess we can lower the prices now? Things like this are why people leave society. Because as good as we want to think humanity is, when a group of us get together and make a business, we find a way to just steal and nickel and dime everybody out of their happiness. And I know that's a crazy thing to say about McDonald's, that they're stealing people's happiness, but everybody's doing it, man. You want to give your baby formula? $50 for formula. You want clean, organic food that's free of pesticides that'll rot you from the inside? Give us $10 for this apple. You just learned microplastics are bad for you and you want to cut off plastic water bottles? Give us $15 for water in a glass bottle. The cherry on top is that the system is built off you paying more. We know that they can make the prices lower if they wanted to, out of the kindness of their hearts, and still have profit margins that are through the roof. But our stock markets don't operate like that. Even in what many would call terrible economic times, our stock market is still at all-time highs. Which makes me think that this system does better the more we suffer. Every company is trying to get a little bit more of your paycheck than the next. I remember people used to say you pay for quality. If something cost more, it was because it was inherently better than the cheaper item. But now everything is jacked up for the simple fact that they know you have no other choice. Because what are you going to do? Buy something else from someone else? 12 companies pretty much own all the brands that you see on the shelves all around you, and they all made an agreement to empty your pockets. If you don't believe me, if you think I'm just being a doomer or talking out of my ass, did you know there was a potato cartel? Most frozen french fries you see in the store are made by a handful of companies, and from 2022 to 2024, when this operation was found out, these companies agreed to collectively raise the prices of french fries, tater tots, hash browns. How sick do you have to be to tax the fries, man? But they ended up increasing prices by about 47%. People say inflation will be stopped by competition, that people will get tired of paying the higher price and switch to the alternative brand. But what do we do when things like this happen? When the companies understand that they can rob us legally and team up to do just that? And you know what's crazy about it? It took only 4 companies to make an agreement to tax on fries to raise the price of frozen potatoes 97% in the US. Again, proving the point that even if you don't go to the 4 top guys, there's not many other options available. I hate to continuously rag on America because I truly do love my country. I love what my country stands for. The idea of freedom. But every day that passes, it seems more like a fading memory because nothing about this feels free. Our cities aren't walkable, our cars aren't affordable, our food is toxic, and the money is worthless. This is depressing, it's not meant to be. I say this to say you're not alone. Keep calling out the price hiking and all the ridiculous things that we see from these people. One thing I'm seeing a lot of rise, which is also a recession indicator in times like this, is the constant signaling by the government that everything is okay. And that everything that seems negative is just false numbers or a hoax. They're not even trying anymore. They're really not. There's so much news that happens every single day that it really doesn't matter what happens. Even the biggest of stories will be buried in a matter of hours by all the dumb, pointless things that we see all around us. And that's not by accident. That's the plan. They want to bombard every sense that you have and make sure that you can't focus on one issue for longer than 10 minutes. Because if you looked and truly focused on what's going on around us, you would not participate in this scheme. We are a part of the biggest psyop ever. Every piece of media and everything that happens is a social test to see what we will tolerate. And this inflation, quote unquote, is the culmination of all of that. How much are you willing to tolerate socially, mentally, financially, to call yourself a member of society? And sadly, I think most of us are surprised by how much we would actually pay. Maybe it's a safety blanket, maybe it's a social order we've all agreed to not care about what's going on around us, or maybe it's the hopelessness that we feel looking at what's happening around us. But it enables more pain, more destruction, and allows more of us to get lost in the wayside. It makes no sense in a population that's decreasing, with Japanese people spending more on adult diapers than for newly born babies. You'd think we'd be doing everything in our power to raise our numbers, to combat this population decline. But instead, all the mind games being played at the top level is making the average person feel lonely, isolated, and more hateful than ever. The inflation that we're seeing is not an accident. This is decades of putting business interests before humanity, and instead of taking some steps to change it, we're doubling down and embracing more big business. I know I painted a bleak picture here today, but I just want to be honest. No matter how many times they say it on TV, inflation that's going on right now is not normal. It is not our faults, and it is not typical economic trends to see prices bounce the way they are right now. For certain products, I guess it's justified, but there is no reason my McChicken should be almost $3. Companies like McDonald's are taking advantage of this terrible economic climate, and like usual, will not be held accountable for anything they do to the customer. In the richest country in the world, it's easy to forget that we're called citizens, because everything refers to you as a customer. If you agreed or disagree with anything I said today, please go ahead and drop a comment down below. Do you think the inflation problem is at an all-time high, or do we still have time to go? If you haven't liked the video yet, please go ahead and drop a like on the video, and a subscription does more for me than you could ever know. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. Until next time.
Transmission complete. Signal terminating. This is ghostthread, signing off.